Hey everybody, today we are going to talk about something I am super excited about, and that's because I've had to keep all of this a secret for a very long time. I was fortunate enough to be part of the beta team developing this new product from Dynavap, which was a really fun experience to just do a bunch of science experiments and really get to know this whole system in depth. And what that is the FFP, the new induction module from DYNATEC, which is the section of Dynavap that makes induction heaters. What the FFP really is this little module on top. FFP stands for fewest failure points, because they wanted to make something that had as little parts to have issues with. I'm not going to open this up because it's still in beta, but the basic parts of it are this base down here, a PCB board, this outer casing, which is 3D printed nylon, this wood lid, a glass cup, which is threaded to adjust your ingress, and we'll talk about that in a second. And that's really it. There isn't a whole bunch of crazy stuff going on or parts in here that can go bad. And the ones that have the highest potential to maybe go bad from overuse or improper use are the capacitors inside, which they made it really easy to open this up and service the capacitors by just switching them out. Anyone with a little Allen key can do it. It's very, very easy. The other thing that they snuck inside was a cool little system to change the lights that turn on when you give the induction module power. To talk about what this induction module is a little further, is a fully customizable module that operates on a 510 connection. Most induction heaters are a built-in box with the batteries either permanently inside or something like the wand where you can take the batteries out. And Dynavap went the other route, and they gave you the platform to kind of build a system that works for you. If you join the beta, you got one of these base stations, which is basically just a female 510 receiver with some wires that go to this very tactile switch, which I put a wooden cap from one of the Vong packages on there, but it actually does fit a normal Dynavap cap. So you can just put the normal cap on there and use that as a switch button. Kind of a tight fit with those, but I like the big wood one, and the click, I gotta say, is really satisfying. It's more like a desktop fidget toy sometimes, and the module just screws on the top like that, giving you a complete desktop system, similar to like a Coil Boy or a VHB that runs off of mains power. And it gives you a lot of good options to kind of customize what vapor experience you're looking for. And that is with the adjustable cup here. You're going to have two options when it comes to a desktop unit like this as far as adjustability goes. And that's the cup on top, which is adjusting your ingress. So it's taking the center of the induction field, and when you screw the cup out like this so it sticks up, it's basically lowering the torch. If you were to use a single flame torch, raising the cup is like putting the torch up here on the cap. So you're going to be very quick to click. It's going to be a low temp vapor, very easy on the lungs, flavorful, but you aren't going to get a very heavy vapor. If you screw the cup all the way down, that's taking the center of the induction field and moving it up to this part of the cap, which is where you're going to get your slowest to click, heaviest vapor. The second way that you can adjust a desktop unit is by getting a variable voltage power supply. So the one that they provide, this is the same one as the Apollo power supply. It's a 12 volt, 6 amp power supply. And that's it. Very easy. And because this is 3D printed and a very simple system to make, Dynavap is actually going to release the STL files for this base station. So if you are that creative type and you want to build one out of wood or 3D print something that's a little different or choose your own colorways, you can do that, which is really cool on Dynavap's behalf. And then as you can see, a little Easter egg down here, they used some of the O-rings from their devices as little feet. I thought that was really neat. Again, I'm not going to pull the base station apart because all of this is still in beta. So we will be doing an update video once this hits production, showing you more in depth, kind of ripping everything apart and going over how to change the lights and change the capacitors. So we're going to put this normal power supply to the side, and we're going to get my handy dandy variable voltage power supply out. So I set it to 10.4, which is where I like to ride. And what a variable voltage power supply does is, if you were using a torch, the power supply is moving the flame closer and further away from the tip. So a 12 volt would be putting the flame, you know, really on the tip like this. And then as you lower the voltage, it's backing the flame further away. So with the cup, it's up and down. With the variable voltage, it's close and far, is how you equate it to torch usage. So for me, since with a single flame, I like to be right here with the tip of the flame barely touching the cap, that's where I get 10.4 with the cup screwed all the way down. Okay, now that we've gone over the general basics of the induction module and how it works as far as settings go, let's go ahead and give it a rip. I'm going to be using my favorite setup at the moment, and which has really just stolen my heart away and became the Dynavap I use the most, which is my mini turbo twist with a 7-fin LE tip and a 2019 Rosium cap. Non-captive is what I like to use in induction heaters. Just drop the device in, and what's really nice about this tactile system, and something that's not depressed to fire, or that like is the Orion where you just set it in, is it's really easy to get like a pulse width modulation style down with the button and kind of do like a pulse heating, which also delays the click from happening. And you, if you get that timing down of pulsing the click, you can get these really deep extractions on the first cycle. For me, with this setup, I like to just hold the button down. It's, you know, easier just to not have to remember the rhythm of the pulse. And I rather adjust voltage and cup depth to get the vapor that I want versus having to click, because if you click, it's not going to be exact every time. So it's better to get it to a situation where if you just push the button down, you're getting exact copycat results every single time. So let's give this a go. First click, second click. And that's what's really fun about the mini turbo twist, is you don't really have to mess with the air port at all. You can just let it rip, and it gives this nice, very flavorful, light vapor. So let's go ahead and let's see what this has to offer. Let me get my little decapper here. And, you know, pretty even, nothing black. There are a little bits that are darker in there. Because of this specific tip cap setup, I could probably mess around with the voltage and the cup depth and get this a little more even. If I was going to give it another cycle, it would give a thorough extraction without pyrolyzing any of this material. And this is, you know, a similar cook to what I get on my flicks. So overall, I am really happy with the FFP. But what gives it that step above is this next part, which we're going to go over in my next video, and that's how to take the FFP on the go with this right here, which is a standard 510 mod called the Aegis X. And because this is 510, this unscrews from here, goes onto this, and now we are talking about a really different, crazy, and fun experience that, in my opinion, changes the Dynavap in ways that I really didn't see coming until I used this. So stay tuned for our next video, FFP Beta Mobile. Stay lifted.